muted.
Welcome everyone to today's webinar. I just want to make everyone understand that we have you on mute. So if you've got any questions during the webinar, please feel free to go ahead and type them into the chat box. And we'll make sure that we answer your questions at the end. I'm also recording this session so that I can send you a link to the recording this afternoon, and in case there's anything that you want to review. And for those of you who are not currently customers of Constant Contact, you'll definitely want to pay close attention to the email that I'm going to send out this afternoon, because it's going to have a special promo code in it that's only going to be available to people who are attending this webinar today. So stay tuned for information about that. So let's get right into this. I'm going to be going through some tips and tricks for successful email marketing, but I'm also going to be getting into a demo account for Constant Contact to show you all how to quickly and easily set up an autoresponder series. This is going to be something that's going to help you to automate your marketing, and I wanted you to understand how this could help your business moving forward, especially with some segmented lists that you might have, or to try and cultivate some new prospect relationships that you have with people who are signing up for your list. So that will be after we go through all of the actual tips and tricks of email marketing. So here we go. In case you don't already know me and have not attended one of my local seminars here in the New Jersey, New York area, my name is Maria Semple. I'm an authorized local expert for Constant Contact. I'm one of their master certified solution providers. That means that I actually help my clients implement these strategies. So for people who say, Maria, I just need you to do it for me, I'm your gal. Also, I am the author of a book called Magnify Your Business. So that book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in case you want to get any additional tricks and tips and suggestions for how to grow your business or your nonprofit organization. I really wrote it for both sectors, and regardless of your tax status, you'd benefit from the tips. And I encourage you to connect with me on my social media channels as well, and checking out my website for some of the free resources that I have there. So, what is email marketing? Some of you are already customers of Constant Contact, some of you are not. So let's just get down some of the basics here. The most important thing is that people have to be interested in what you have to say. So it is definitely about professional email communications to that interested audience. It is communications that builds in your branding, opportunities to build in beautiful photos, even videos. So all of this can be built in, but most importantly, the thing that I like most about the email marketing platform offered by Constant Contact is you get the measurement. You understand exactly how your email marketing is doing. You will know because you will know about the opens, you will know about the click-throughs, you will know about the social media shares of your email marketing. So it can definitely do several things for your business depending on what type of business you have. The businesses that are on the call who actually have products for sale, certainly you can let people know of any special opportunities for any sales that you might have. You might even be able to start segmenting your lists based on your VIP customers and really offering them and tailoring them some special opportunities that you might have for your business. Other things that you can think about doing is just generally increasing awareness. So especially for people who are more of a service provider who might be on the call, you want to continually think about how can I increase awareness, right? Reinforcing your brand, but also giving those helpful tips to people and information that they're looking for from the professionals like you. And then what can it do for other types of businesses? Certainly repeat repeat business. One of the customers of Constant Contact runs a spa, and if they have a slow day, they'll send out an email to some local people and let them know about a special opportunity that can be redeemed, say, for that day only. So certainly having this at your disposal will be able to perhaps fill some of those slower days and boost up the business and the line. So you need to harness that power of the inbox, and we're going to be going through several things on our agenda today. Certainly we're going to be talking about how do you grow that healthy list, right? Because this is about permission-based marketing, and your list is a very valuable asset for your organization. If you can think about the average price point of your product or your services, right, and then you multiply that by the number of people that you have on your list, that is the value of your list. So I don't want you to discount what the value is of that list. Certainly you want to take that into account because it's a valuable asset that you want to closely guard, closely safeguard, and also make sure that you're not sharing it with any other third parties and so forth. You want to think about creating that great content, right? You've heard the phrase, I'm sure, in the last year or two, that content is king. So I'm going to give you some ideas for how to create some great engaging content. Of course, you want to think about those templates that are not only beautiful, that match your brand, but also mobile friendly. This is huge. A lot of emails are getting opened on mobile devices today. Think about your own strategies of what you're doing throughout your day. You're probably hitting your mobile phone a lot in terms of looking at your emails. So make sure that any templates that you're using are mobile friendly, mobile responsive. If you have a brand new Constant Contact account or you decide to open one as a result of today's webinar, understand that those templates that you see available to you are going to be mobile friendly. I'm going to give you some ideas for getting that email opened. So it's not only enough to land in someone's inbox, but you've got to get that email opened as well. And certainly it's about tracking your results, because if you're not doing that, if you're not measuring your marketing, then you're not really marketing. You're not really understanding what's working and what's not working. So certainly this is an important piece to your email marketing strategies. And then we'll think about some things about how to put the whole thing together. So the #1 app on your smartphone today, I alluded to the answer a couple seconds ago. It is definitely your email app, right? When I'm doing this seminar live, a lot of people think that it might be your Facebook app, but actually email apps are opened more often than your Facebook app is, for example, or maybe some of your other social media apps on your smartphone. So this was a kind of a crazy stat that Constant Contact put on this slide, but more people own a cell phone than own a toothbrush worldwide, so imagine that. Okay, so why? Why is email so important, and especially mobile emails? Because 91% of people are checking their email daily, and most of them are checking them on their smartphones, as I said earlier. So it's reliable, getting delivered over 90% of the time. And think about that in contrast to your Facebook posts. Most of my seminar attendees are very surprised to hear that if they've got a fan base, let's say, of 500 people following their Facebook page, that only 2% of those people are actually seeing their organic posts. That means if you've got a post on Facebook that says, hey, check out our sale that we're having today, or check out our fall festival that we're having, only 2% of the people. So if you've got an email list of 500, only 10 people are organically seeing that. What Facebook would love you to do is to boost that post out there or create an ad. And that's how they make their money. And that's fine, and it's actually not that expensive to do that. But you do need to understand that if most of your strategy is on Facebook right now, that organically, right, those posts that you're not paying to get seen by more people, to a targeted audience, it's only going to be 2% of your organic posts are going to be seen. So just know that going forward with your email, with your Facebook strategies. That's why email is great, because it's actually getting delivered to people's inboxes. You're also not waiting for people to sit down in front of their social media platforms before engaging with your brand. So it works everywhere, whether you're on a mobile device, a desktop device, an iPad, an iPhone, an Android device. It works everywhere. Okay, and what you want to think about too are conversion rates. So what we found is that it has 3 times the conversion rate that social media has, and that the average rate of return, okay, return on investment, I should say, is $44.25 for every $1 spent on your email marketing. Okay, so there are a number of surveys that have been done on this, and you can see all the various organizations, including Direct Marketing Association, Pew Research Center, etc. So it's quite an average return on investment, and it's an excellent return on your investment. So first impressions certainly matter, right? So you want to think about making that first impression the best it can possibly be. Think about your email marketing, okay? If you're using the email on the left, perhaps being sent out from an Outlook account, a Hotmail account, something like that, your email on the left is what is going out. Now, hopefully, if you're doing that now or have been doing that in the past, you are at minimum blind copying all the other emails on there, because you'd be then actually breaking one of the CAN-SPAM rules. There are laws around email marketing. The CAN-SPAM Act, you can actually Google it to see what that's all about. And if you're in Canada, you have CASL, the Canadian Anti-Spam Legislation. So you do need to keep in mind that in the U.S. and Canada, we have very strict rules around email marketing. So divulging other people's email addresses is certainly a big no-no. The other thing is that comparing the two emails is the one on the left really does not incorporate any of your branding, and most importantly, you have no idea who's opened the email, right? You don't know who opened it, who clicked through on any links that you might have provided in the email. Okay, so it doesn't work because you have limited sending capacity. It's definitely susceptible to filters, and you can increase your potential spam complaints. So you don't want to have your email going out to folks getting an awful lot of spam complaints, and that is potential for happening when you actually are sending your emails out through a service provider, bulking your emails and sending it out through Outlook or Hotmail or something like that. So one of the things you want to keep in mind is that Constant Contact is automatically going to do a few things for you. You're going to have templates to choose from that can all be branded to match your website. You can actually, all the subscriptions will be managed. So if somebody decides they're going to opt out, and again, having that one-click opt-out is actually also a key part of staying compliant with the anti-spam legislations that are out there. So you've got to be able to give people a one-click opt-out. So those subscriptions will all be managed. If somebody opts out, there'll be nothing else you need to do manually. The other thing that you can do is put a sign-up button on your website, for example. So again, managing those subscriptions, and we'll go through some other tools to build your list as well, but all those subscriptions, whether they be opting in or opting out, could be happening without your intervention. It ensures your email delivery, you're tracking results, and as I said earlier, you're obeying all the laws around email marketing. So let's talk about growing that healthy list. And I'd like to interject another word here, growing a healthy permission-based list. Again, you don't want to be known as a spammer. You want to be sending those targeted communications to people who actually want to hear from you, okay? But you do need to ask. So it's all about how and where you ask people, and it's important to get that permission, whether that permission be implicit or explicit permission, right? So here's the importance of asking. Getting that express consent, even if you're attending a networking event, even if you're at a chamber event and you're having a conversation with someone, and during that conversation you say to them, gee, I I have an email that I'd like to be able to send out to you on a monthly basis with some tips and tricks in it. Why don't I add you to the list? Would you have a problem with that? Just get their express consent that they are interested in receiving those communications. Be straightforward. Let them know how often. If you're planning to send out something monthly, try and stick to that. Don't go from a monthly email to a twice-a-week email. Suddenly people are going to feel like, hey, this is not what I signed up for. They told me it was going to be monthly. So there's a very good chance that they might mark your email as spam or even opt out of your email. Definitely, you've always got to offer that opt-out opportunity. It's extremely important that that opt-out be offered because if it's not there, again, you're not staying compliant with the Can-Spam Act. And respect their privacy. Earlier I mentioned that that list is a very valuable asset for your organization, so you don't want to be sharing those lists or renting them or selling them with other companies or organizations. So stay legally compliant, check out the rules. You can Google Can-Spam Act and you can Google Canadian anti-spam legislation if we've got anybody listening from Canada today. Even if you're not from Canada, if you happen to be a border state with Canada or you happen to just have a lot of people, maybe you service all of North America. If you service any clients who are in Canada, you do need to stay in compliance with the Canadian anti-spam legislation. Also have to think about your online presence. So every place you have a presence online, you want to think about adding that join our email list button or a link, a hyperlink, whatever it is. Make sure you've got it on your website, for example, so that people can actually join your list. So a form will pop up. You can collect those data points that you need. I really recommend keeping that sign-up form as short as possible. People kind of get turned off by a really long form. So here's an opportunity to collect just those data points that you really need at this time. And you can always try and collect more data from those folks later. And then once somebody has signed up, the really cool thing about this is they'll automatically get that welcome email. In this particular email here, this welcome email, it says in that second paragraph, it says, to start providing you immediate value, here is video number 1 in the email marketing tip video series. Now, this is a series of emails that's automatically going to be going out, talking about that autoresponder series, that automated email. So what this particular consultant has done is to build up a series of emails that will get sent out. He creates the series once, and it's an evergreen series of emails. You don't have anything date specific in them, but that series of emails will automatically go out once somebody has actually signed up. So, where else can you ask? Think about events that you might be attending, certainly, okay? And again, getting that permission from people. QR codes, if you are still using QR codes at all, think about all of the QR codes that you could be placing on your print materials. And again, those codes are actually created right from within your Constant Contact account. So I don't want you to think you have to go somewhere else to create the code or even employ a consultant to create that code for you. Those codes can all be created very quickly and easily right within your Constant Contact account. If you have a physical place of business, why not put some sort of signage outside the business or in the window or at front desk? So again, bricks and mortar locations, you have an advantage here where you can put some sign-up signs. Any sign-up forms, of course, the only problem is with sign-up forms is that you will then need to interpret people's handwriting. So take that one with a grain of salt. I know a lot of stores typically will have an email sign-up book at their front register, which is great, but then you do need to take the time to opt people in, and you need to be able to interpret their handwriting. So I'm going to be giving you some tools to kind of circumvent that if you want. I think we've all experienced that fishbowl when we're at some sort of exhibitor fairs and so forth and events. So certainly if you're participating in any type of big vendor events, go ahead and put that bowl out there and entice people to leave their business card. But the important thing is that you always do really need to ask, okay? So building your list should always be something that's going to be top of mind for you. And again, if you can tie it to what the average price point value is for every one of your customers, that's that value of building your list. So one of the tips that I was alluding to earlier, especially with that salon sign that had that sidewalk sign, what they're doing is they're using what we call the text to join feature. What you're doing here is you're taking advantage of all the people that are walking around with these smartphones in their pockets, and you give them a trigger word that corresponds to just your business. In this case, the salon has chosen the word Salon Bella. Okay, and that's their key word. That means there's no other constant contact customer that can choose that word as the trigger word in this process. So somebody can take out their smartphone and they'll actually text the word Salon Bella to the number 22828. And that what happens is they get an immediate text back thanking them for joining the list, and they'll also get an email, a welcome email immediately. So using this can actually be set up so that it is kicking off. If you want, it can kick off your entire autoresponder series. So that's really kind of an interesting way to think about using this text to join feature, is if you want to be able to have, say, new prospects opt into your list, then they can also be part of this entire autoresponder series that you would set up. Again, the QR code is another alternative. So this is another way people can scan this QR code, and then they're given the opportunity to sign up for your list in that way. But the really important thing is you want to think about, well, what is that reason to join your list? Okay, is there something that you can offer people? Is it that coupon? Is it a free download? Okay, what is it that you can offer people that will allow them to say, yeah, you know what, I really want to opt into this list? I think we've all experienced that ourselves when we visited a website where we're interested in getting that free white paper, for example. So definitely take advantage of that as well. So what can you offer them? You can offer them things like ongoing education, maybe VIP preference, right? So maybe people on your VIP list get some special preference, advanced notification of special events that you might have, or advanced notification about a sale, or maybe they can attend a sale on a date before the rest of the public can. You want to think about insider news. This is particularly great for people who are in professional services. So thinking about what is it that you have about your industry and practices and important things that you need to let your constituents know about. And that can be done through an ebook, through white papers, through monthly updates. And again, don't forget, if you are retail at all, think about what are those discounts that you can offer people. And the number one reason people will unsubscribe altogether is if they just feel that that is no longer relevant content for them. So that's really the number one reason that we have found people will unsubscribe. So how do you create that great content? How do you keep people engaged? It's about engagement marketing, right? So how do you keep them engaged? Well, put their interests ahead of your own, right? You might really want to be sell, 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 but that's not where their interests are, right? People love to buy, but they hate being sold to. So keep that top of mind as you're creating your email marketing pieces, right? So you want to focus on being relevant. You want to think about keeping your content as short as possible. So think about what is enough. What is that amount of content that we can put out there that's going to keep people engaged but not overwhelm them? Think about those frequently asked questions that you get about your business. Those are great questions that you can turn into content, and I'm going to give you some examples of those in a moment. And don't forget about images. Images and video, for that matter, make really great content for your email marketing. So let's talk about all of this all together. So again, write for your audience, not for you. They're going to unsubscribe if it's boring, and at worst, they're going to also send it to the spam filter, okay, if they find that it's irrelevant. So writing for them and not for you, you want to make sure that you are giving them that great content that they're looking for on whatever that frequency basis is that you've promised you're going to send it out to them. So how much is enough? Well, less is more. And believe me, with these next couple of tips that I'm going to share with you, I myself struggle with this every time I'm creating an email marketing piece. Believe it or not, what they're recommending now, because so many of us are just scanning over our emails, especially scanning over them in a mobile device, if you can keep that email to 20 lines of text or less, you're going to be getting a little bit more of a boost in your opens and your click-throughs, for example. Also, don't overwhelm people with photos. You want to think about keeping this in set up in a way that people are able to see your pictures but not be overwhelmed with too many choices, okay? So this is something you want to keep in mind. Too many photos and people feel overwhelmed and they just click away from the email. So definitely think about what can you do to keep it to 3 pictures or less. And you also want to think about having fewer links. The emails that get the most click-throughs have just 1 click or maybe 2. Once you get 3 clicks in an email, so whether that be click here to view our website, register now for our special event, click here to download our free white paper. Once you have 3 or more clicks in an email, you start seeing a pretty big decline in the number of clicks that people will actually take. So the click rate does go down substantially. So try and keep it to 1 or 2 click-throughs if you possibly can. Now, again, creating that great content. I alluded earlier to those frequently asked questions that you might get regarding your particular type of business or your nonprofit organization. So take those questions and then turn them into content, right? Think about this. For somebody who might be a plumber, for example, how do I ensure my pipes won't burst this winter? Well, you can write an email marketing piece on 5 ways to protect your pipes this winter, right? So somebody doesn't need a plumber every single month of the year, but when they need your services, you're going to want to make sure that your email, that your business is going to be top of mind for them. And you know what they say, out of sight, out of mind. So you want to make sure that even for people who don't have a business, who don't have a frequency in buying, okay, you want to think about how do you stay top of mind. And notice what has been done in all 3 of these email contents. They've used a number, 5 ways to protect, your top 3 mileage deduction questions, 10 ways to increase event attendance. So what they've done here is, what we have found over the years at Constant Contact, is that in having a number in that subject line actually elicits a higher open rate and a higher click-through rate. People can wrap their heads around it because they can see that, oh, okay, I'm in this for just 3 quick tips or 5 quick tips. So it's a great way to engage your audience. Another great word to use in your subject lines is the word you or your. Okay, so that is something that will also help get your emails opened and get some click-throughs once they've opened that email. So put a number in there and put a word in there like you or your, and you're already going to start making some improvements in tweaking your email marketing. Now, don't forget about those images, because 90% of information that's processed by the brain is actually visual content. So it is important to have some images in there. The other reason, by the way, you do want to have images in there is because in order to count as an open on your open rates that you're going to be seeing on those back-end reports, images need to be enabled on the user's device. That means the recipient getting your emails has to have images enabled. So, as an example, I use an Android device. I do not have images automatically enabled on that device when I'm looking at my emails as I'm going through all the emails in my inbox. I actually have to hit a button that says Show Images. So if you have images in there, and I've read through your email, but I have not clicked through on that button that says Show Images, I won't count as an open as part of your open rates, even though I might have consumed the content that was in there. Okay? Now, if I take an action, if you put a button in there that says, click here to read this entire white paper, or click here now to visit our website to learn more, then I will count as an open. So you just need to understand how open rates are calculated and the importance of images beyond just the visual beauty of having images embedded in your email marketing. Choosing those right photos, all right? You want to make sure that you're choosing the right size for your templates. Definitely you want to avoid copyright issues. This is not the time to go to Google Images and to start pulling images off there and start using it in your email marketing. You might start getting involved in a lot of copyright issues, so be very careful. We recommend that you never do that. Definitely use your own photos that you've paid for or stock images that you've paid for as well. And don't forget, when you have a Constant Contact account, you actually end up having millions of photos available to you, a lot of them for free, some of them for a very nominal fee, but you get them through bigstockphoto.com, and that's already included in your Constant Contact account. A couple things you want to think about with your images. You want to make them all clickable. People love to click on an image. So make sure for every image you embed in your email marketing that it clicks through to your website. On this particular email, they're talking about a Kauai vacation special, right? So what you might do there with having that great vacation retreats photo at the top, you might have that click through instead of to the home page of the website of that particular travel agency. You might have it click through to the specific page of the website that talks about the Kauai vacation special. So don't frustrate people by sending them to the wrong page of your website. So link every image, if you can, to a specific page of your website. Whatever that key action is, that key call to action that you want people to see, make sure it's above the scroll line. In this particular case, it's that View Listings button, right? Notice how on both the desktop device and on the mobile device, it's appearing above the scroll line. So make sure that you preview and test send these emails to yourselves before sending them out to your list to make sure that that key call to action is above the scroll line, that folks don't need to scroll and see that link all the way buried at the bottom of that email. And what I was talking about earlier as well is to limit the choices, 1 to 2 clicks in that particular email campaign. So let's talk about designing those beautiful mobile-friendly templates that are going to match your brand. It all starts really with the web presence and perhaps any paper collaterals that you might have for your business, which hopefully are all in the same color scheme and so forth. But you want to make sure that whatever that branding is that you have online, that branding is carried forward. You want to make sure it's all optimized for mobile, and ensuring that consistent branding as well. So consistent, using those images consistently, and don't forget to use similar language across your platforms, okay? So email, your Facebook, your website, make sure that you've got that similar look going across all of your platforms. So the types of emails that you might be putting out on a monthly or a weekly basis, or however often you've decided you're going to send this out, could be newsletter type, okay, so you're really informing and educating people. Could be just a quick announcement of some sort, or really a promotional email. So generally your emails are going to fall into one of these 3 types of buckets. Thinking about what a real simple recipe is going to be for success, that single column mobile-friendly template using fewer than 3 images, and fewer than 20 lines of text. Again, very few links. They're saying here no more than 3 to 5. If you can keep it to 1 to 2 links, that's going to be even better. And that key action in this particular email, it says sign up today. That key action is above the scroll line. So how are we going to get that email open? All right, give them some reason to pay attention. That sender has to be recognized. So if you are the business, okay, like I am the business for the Prospect Finder, I want to make sure that I am showing up as a recognized sender when I land in somebody's inbox. And I'm never quite sure how people are going to remember me, if they remember me as Maria Semple or they remember me as the Prospect Finder. So I tend to put both in the from line. I tend to put Maria Semple, comma, the Prospect Finder. So that strategy might work well for you. If it is simply your company name that is going to be that recognized sender, then that's all you're going to put in that from line. You've got to have that compelling subject line. So think about those tips I gave you earlier for using a number and for using the word you or your somewhere in that subject line. Timing is very important. Time of day and day of the week that you're sending your emails out. And we'll talk more about some tips for determining your best timing to send out the email. And you want to think about those easy social options as well. Getting your emails shared on social media, but also to have the folks who are part of your email list engage with you on your company or your organization's social platforms. Again, how do people know you best? It's got to be recognizable. Okay, so whatever you think that is, make sure that that's appearing in the from line. Also, a third of the people are actually going to open the email based on the subject line. So the number one thing they're looking at is the from line. The next thing they're looking at to determine if they're opening it is the subject line. And actually, they're making this in a split-second decision. Think about the way you're scrolling through your inbox, especially on your mobile device. You're having a busy day or first thing in the morning, whatever it may be, you're scrolling through that inbox, and what are you looking for? You're looking for those recognized senders, your clients, your customers, maybe an important family member. You're looking through those first. And then once you kind of get through that filter, and this happens in a split second, you're then looking at that subject line. So you've got to be able to make sure that you're identifying your purpose for that email, be clear, be clever, and you want to make sure you're keeping it short, all right? 30 to 40 characters maximum in that subject line, 6 to 10 words maximum, and then there's an area known as pre-header text. So for those of you that have been using Constant Contact for a while, you may have missed this, but there's actually a pre-header text you can actually force in there as well. So what is this pre-header text? Let's get into that. In this particular email, the pre-header text is actually that first line of the email that you're seeing way at the top, aspire to higher ground. Okay, so what's going to happen is in the email inbox, that pre-header text is what's going to appear. So notice, this is sitting in your email inbox. Half Moon Yoga is the from line. Acro Yoga at 10,000 feet, you in, that's the subject line. And notice that next line underneath it. That's known as pre-header text. So if you don't customize that pre-header text message, which by the way is found in the header options of pre-email campaign, it's going to automatically bring in that very first sentence. So when you're previewing your emails and test sending them to yourselves, make sure you pull out your mobile device, see what it looks like on your mobile device, and see what that third line is sitting in that mobile device in your email inbox, because it's very important that you take advantage of that. I like to tell people it's like having some extra real estate in somebody's inbox. So make sure you're taking advantage of that extra real estate. Another thing you need to be careful of are words that might trigger your email to be delivered to a spam box. Your goal is to get into people's inboxes, not to get tripped up by a spam filter and get delivered to a spam box. So these are just some of the words, and the biggest one that I actually struggle with is the word free. The reason why I struggle with this is because I offer lots of free seminars and webinars, just like the one you're attending today. And I always want to put the word free in that subject line, and I know that if I do that, I might get routed to a spam box. So I tend to err on the side of caution a little bit, and you'll notice that just about every one of my emails does not contain the word free in the subject line. Timing is very important as well, and how often you send out, okay? So think about the timing. When is your audience going to be most engaged with their email inbox? Do you have mostly corporate or work email addresses for your customers or your clients or your donors? So make sure you're thinking about, well, what time of day will they be interacting with this? If you seem to have mostly Hotmail accounts, Gmail accounts, things of that nature, you might be able to get away with an evening or a very early morning send, for example. So you want to think about the time of the day of the week, but also the beauty of having a system like Constant Contact is going to give you the opportunity. You're going to be able to split your lists up, send the exact same message out 2 different days of the week, 2 different times of day. You're going to be able to see over time what is really working and when your audience is the most engaged. So when is the best time to send emails? Well, Constant Contact is actually, it depends on the industry that you're in. They've analyzed millions of emails across 33 different industries to give you this kind of insight. But if you're looking for a place to start, actually about 2/3 of industries had a best day to send on Mondays, including accountants, consultants, financial advisors, fitnesses and spas, real estate and others. And surprisingly, early morning send times performed very well across the board. Somewhere between 5 and 8 a.m. seems to be a pretty good sweet spot. And this is really based on analyzing billions of Constant Contact customer emails in the year of 2015. If you want to see where your own industry lies in this, you can actually check out their frequently asked questions, where they actually list all 33 industries and the best days and times for each of those industries. So that is available to you. If you have trouble finding it, call Constant Contact and they'll point you in the right direction on finding that report. Another thing that can help you is social share buttons. So one of the things that you can do at the top of the emails that you send out is create an area where you insert the social share bar. And this will appear at the top of your email. It encourages your recipients to actually share the email campaign on their own social media accounts. You can add your own organization's social media buttons so that people can also interact with you there. And then don't forget to track those results. Knowing what metrics matter, making the right decisions, and I highly recommend, in addition to looking at the open rates, that you really focus on the click-through rates. Okay, so opens are going to help you gauge interest, determine best day and time. Industry averages really vary widely from 8 to 28%. Again, you can see how you compare against others in your industry by making sure that your own Constant Contact account has the correct industry selected for the type of account that you have. You want to measure those click-throughs. It's going to help you identify those engaged readers. Industry averages for click-throughs vary between 5 and 18%, so then you can see where your averages lie. And even the did not opens, it's an opportunity to re-engage that audience and think about new methods for engaging with them, okay? And even the opt-outs. If people are saying they're getting too many emails from you, readjust your strategy, okay, so that you're sending out less emails. And then you want to think even about those bounces. This is an opportunity for you to clean up your lists. Very often people switch jobs and that email address is just no longer deliverable or it's non-existent. So make sure that you have this opportunity to identify those bad addresses and clean up those lists and delete them. So how do you make some decisions? Well, if you've got low opens and low clicks, on the low open side of things, make sure again that you're a recognized name, you're interesting subject lines, and that you're sending those emails on a timely basis, the best day of the week and the best time. If you're finding that you have low click-throughs, well, is your call to action strong enough? Is it a call-out button? Is it perhaps in a different color font or a bolded font or a larger font? So think about things to make that call to action a little bit more visible and make sure it's above the scroll line. Keep those emails short and really send targeted emails if you can. You have a lot of opportunities to segment and target your lists. Making those decisions based on high metrics, right? So if you do have high open rates, if you're in that category, kudos to you. What can you do to actually improve upon that? Well, you can actually try and tweak that best time and best day. Maybe you'll increase your open rates by just a little bit. What are some of those key words that you could be using in that subject line, again, to elicit a higher open rate? And then once you see you've got some super fans, those folks that are constantly opening your emails, you're going to be able to segment those as well. If you're fortunate enough to have very high click-through rates, again, maybe just to format those links to stand out a little bit better. Offer some preferred content to folks, and again, those super clickers. So think about ways you can reward those super fans and those super clickers by segmenting them a little bit differently and messaging them differently. So again, spotlighting on that click-through rate, okay? You want to think about what is it that they clicked through on, what was that content. In this case, for this Mind Body Online, it was for folks who clicked on the booking button, and then you're able to actually see who those clickers were, and then actually follow up with those folks separately. Right? So if you see a lot of people click through on a specific page of your site, and had a lot of engaged interest, you can actually save that to a separate list and then start messaging them differently. So to put this all together, before we get into the demo piece, you want to keep some of the things in mind that we've gone through about branding, size. You want to think about those image numbers and subject lines as well. Again, that relevant content, that clear call to action, all above the scroll line, and applying your branding colors. Try and match this all up to your website. So small business marketing is definitely about nurturing those relationships, delivering on your promises, and again, getting those measurable results. Okay? So 3 simple steps to get started. Get your list together, create it, watch what happens. Look at those results. Contact has a number of tools in addition to newsletters and announcements, offers and promotions. You can do feedbacks and surveys, and you can manage your events and registrations. All of you actually participated in the event management tool when you signed up for today's presentation. So some resources before we get into the demo. Constant Contact definitely has a lot of resources locally in your communities, so check out their website where you can find some free seminars and training. You can get a free 60-day trial, and stay tuned if you don't already have an account. I'm going to be talking to you about a special promotion at the end of this. And then don't forget their blog. I love their blog, blogs.constantcontact.com. They've got blog articles on all kinds of things beyond email marketing. So they cover both email marketing, social media marketing, content marketing strategies. So keep in touch with what they're publishing on their blog. A lot of great resources there. So local seminars, don't forget, if you need a hand in applying any of this and you're just unsure how to get started, I can help you get started with a create and launch package and then kind of set you free to be able to continue the email marketing on your own, or I can help keep it going for you on a consistent basis. Don't forget to get in touch with me afterward, and let me just see here if we have any questions before we actually get into the, let me get logged back in, and then I'm going to look at some questions that we might have from the audience. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in, and I'll be sure to take a look for them as I'm going through this presentation. All right. In order to create an autoresponder series, okay, an automated email campaign, you go to this Create button and you click on the Automate Your Emails link. By the way, you can send birthday emails out to people if you know the month that their birthday is in, okay, but you do need to collect that data point from your list. And anniversary email, that's not necessarily anniversary, although if you're in the wedding planning industry, that could be for sure. But this is more about anniversaries for membership-based organizations, things of that nature. So you can actually send out a reminder email, and that can be automated to go out there for you. Okay, but you would click on this Create button, and then it enables you to start naming the series, and then you get to decide what is the list who gets that series. All right. Now, I just went ahead and created a very quick email campaign and started it just so that it would preload. So I named the series 928 New Prospects Series for the demo. That's my internal name. Nobody's going to see that. So you name that whatever you need to. If that's going to be your New Prospects series, then that's what you can name it. And I decided to do this from wearing the hat of what if I were a gym, right? And I wanted to send an email to people who either visited our gym and took a quick tour, or perhaps came to our website and just wanted to sign up to get some information about the gym. So the first email that was created, and I did this very quickly just a little while ago. I just selected one of Constant Contact's templates, and I went ahead and I just started populating some content in here. So letting people know, you know, it's a subject line, a note from ABC Gym. Thanks for inquiring. We know you have many choices in our community to get a workout. We're more than just a gym. We're about keeping you healthy and getting you to your best self, et cetera, et cetera. And then notice what I've given them at the bottom of this first email, a free visit, a free pass, right? A full day pass to the gym. Then they can go to any classes they want. They can use the gym. And I'm putting an expiration date that this expires 1 week from today. So don't forget that email is going to have a date and time stamp on it. So when they present it either on their phone or if they print it out and bring it into your gym, for example, this would all be built right in. Okay? So we can decide we're going to change some of these colors as well. Maybe your gym has nothing to do with the color pink. Well, you can actually get your hex number to be exact with the color that your website represents, okay? And so let me just pick a different color here. Let's say the gym has more of a blue overall look on the website. And again, all of these buttons, the coupon, all of this can all be changed to match your websites exactly. I'm going to go ahead and save that first email, and then I'm going to indicate that I want to add another. But maybe instead of starting a brand new email, I'm just going to copy this one and change it up a little bit. Somebody just asked if since they missed the first half, will they get a copy of this webinar? And the answer is yes, I'm going to send out a recording. So stay tuned for that later today. Okay, so now this email is copied. I'm going to name this next email, I'm going to name it second email in new prospects, getting sent out to new prospects. And maybe this subject line is going to say something like, did you enjoy your visit? And we're going to hit the OK button here. And I can even force in some pre-header text. If not, come on by today. So that's what they're going to see as it's sitting in their email inbox. They're going to see that from line, the subject line, and that pre-header text. Maybe in this email, I'm going to give tips for a great workout. And I can change up this photo if I want. And maybe I'll go ahead and do that. So they're not getting the same photo again. Let's see what we've got in here. I've got some photos already in my library. Let's see, maybe we'll use this one. And maybe this is going to say stretching tips. And maybe we'll center that up. And et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so whatever the tips are. And you can even put some bullet points in there. Tip 1, tip 2, tip 3. Okay? And now that I'm thinking this through, if there's 3 tips in here, maybe instead of a subject line of did you enjoy your visit, 3 tips, 3 stretching tips before your next visit. And then change this up to just come on by today. Okay? You might decide, okay, hopefully they've used their free visit pass. Let's eliminate this coupon altogether from the second email series. And we're going to save that email. Maybe we'll add just a 3rd email to a new prospect. And you can, again, you can select a brand new template, okay? Or if you decide you really want it to just be if you just want it to be able to, let me just go back a second here. We're going to make this one the 3rd email. Okay. We're going to go ahead and just put in here perhaps bring a friend to your next workout. Right? Free coupon enclosed. Now notice I'm not putting anything date specific in here. I'm not saying come by on the Saturday morning to have an open house. I'm not putting anything like that in here, right? So maybe here we'll say, you know, by now you've seen what we've got to offer. Don't keep us a secret. Bring a friend on your next visit and use the coupon below. Okay, so whatever it is that you want to offer them. Again, you can change up that photo to whatever photo you want. You can even put your logo in there. And instead of saying free visit, share this email with a friend and come by together for a great workout. And save. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue here, because what you need to decide is when is that first email, that second email, and that 3rd email going out. And Constant Contact will automatically assign some dates here, but you get to customize this. So the minute I added a new name to the prospect list, the email is going to go out to them immediately. Then I might decide that instead of that second email going out 2 days later, maybe we want it to go out, let's say 5 days later. So 5 days after that first email goes out, the second email will automatically get kicked out to them. And then maybe we want to make this one be something like 10 days later. Okay, so again, it's a way for you to automatically engage with people by having a dedicated series of emails that are going to go out to them based on the list that they have been assigned to. Okay, and then the series is not activated until you actually hit this activate button. And you can decide what lists are going to get this, right? So at this time, I just have this selected to the new prospects list. And that would be if I assign those names myself or if people are opting in through a sign-up box, right? So you might have the sign-up box on your website. Everybody gets filtered in automatically to this new prospect list, and then it would automatically kick out a series of emails. So think about your own businesses, and I'm going to send you a worksheet as well as a follow-up today so that you'll have an understanding of how you might start thinking about, well, what is that evergreen content I can begin sending out to people? And how can I keep them as engaged as possible with my business or with my nonprofit by simply sending out this automated series of emails? Now let me just see the questions that are coming in because I see a few of them coming in, so I want to make sure that I get to answer them. Is there an easy way to schedule an email as a follow-up to a purchase without having a lot of lists with only a couple of names on each? A follow-up to a purchase without having a lot of lists with only a couple of names on each. So if they've made a purchase from you, as long as they get assigned to a particular list once that purchase is made, then it can indeed send out an automated series of emails. So if you want to send them a series of emails around how they're using their product or tips for using the product, things like that, you can actually automate that series in that way. But they do need to be assigned to a specific list. Then you can have multiple series going on. So let's say you've got a particular series that's going to go out to people who bought product A. Another series of emails can go out to people who bought product B, product C, and so forth. So you don't have to have just one automated series sitting in your email, in your Constant Contact account. You can have different series going out depending on what list or lists you have folks assigned to. So I hope that helps you. Now, I did mention that for those people who don't have Constant Contact, I'm going to be giving you an offer today, and it's going to be good for today only, where you'll be able to purchase Constant Contact for just $5 a month for the next 3 months. And it is something that I've not seen Constant Contact offer before. I'm only allowed to offer it to folks on this webinar today and to people that have attended my seminar very recently. So it is something that's going to be good for today, and there's going to be a special website that you're going to have to go to get this $5 offer. So I want to make sure that you're going to use the link that I'll send you in my follow-up email. So I thank all of you for attending this webinar today. It's been great having you here. Thanks for your questions. I promise to send you a copy of the recording and some additional tools that will help you get the best out of your automated series that you want to set up for your own business or your own nonprofit. Thanks so much, everybody, and have a great day.